Well, I topped off the tank. I got 2 tall, must have been like a liter of water from Love's, 2 tall bottles of water. I filled this thing, this Coleman thermos thing, with ice. And we are 13 miles. Oh, wait. I came this way. There's a house right around this corner, unless we've passed it, that's built into the hill. Okay, that's not it. Anyway, we're 13 miles outside of Cimarron, C-I-N-A-R-R-O-N, or C-I-M-M-A-R-O-N, Cimarron. And I think that was the name of a Disney movie with a horse in it. Maybe it's the color of a horse. There was a house built into the ground, and it was brick. It was that long, narrow, mid-century brick. And at one end of the house, there was a star or a cross window out of glass block. And it was kind of neat. It was kind of neat looking. But we are on the road. Oh, I should have said the thing. Let's getting out of Dodge. Yep, we're leaving Dodge. We're getting out of Dodge. There's so many little cliches. Like we're not in Kansas anymore. Let's get out of Dodge, or I think it's worded differently. Anyway, I've seen more of those gigantic piles with tires, just covered in tires. Anyway, we are on our way to Little Jerusalem Badlands State Park. Whatever that is, it's putting out smoke really quickly. I mean, it's like combustion or something. I mean, it's really moving. That is coming out of there, and it's not leaving much in the air. It's dissipating really quickly. So there's a hillside to my right or to the north, and it's pretty much just a flat line to the left. And it has been that way. It's been that way along this highway. I guess this highway just sort of follows the terrain. The Coronado Cross, I went back to it this morning, before the little Sutler's store in Fort Dodge. And the Coronado's Cross was a fork in the Santa Fe Trail. One route was faster with less sources of water, and the other route was called the wet route, which had plenty of water and streams. That's what the Coronado's Cross marked. I've got to delve into the Santa Fe Trail and learn more about it. I am sorry I did not get this on film, but I need to tell you, I just passed a place that looked like greenhouses, except the tops were nets, draped nets, and it looked like grass or bamboo, and then it was all brown, and I'm thinking like it was abandoned, and weeds have come up in all the greenhouse frames with those draped netting over it. And then there were feeders, like big, like 5-gallon bucket with a little rim around the bottom and a cone-shaped top, like chicken feeders, but larger than chicken feeders. Y'all, pheasants. They were pheasants. Like chicken houses, but pheasant houses. It was really neat, and it was private. It didn't look like I could just pull in there. But I did see some sitting up with the black and white ring around the neck. That was cool. I can't believe I have bought a dish towel. It was a dish towel. And at the, what was it, the Thunderbird Motel this morning, I got really super organized. I even worked in the car here. And I ended up putting my clean hankies folded and stuffed in the box that my shoes came in, down in my duffel bag that's behind me, that I'm not able to, I can't access. And I had them here, and I could have just reached over and got one, because this is like a scratchy canvas, and I need one of my actual handkerchiefs now. That's okay, because there is a Salvation Army about 20 miles ahead, and I'm going to stop, and I'll have to get my hankies. And yeah, this is not really going to work for a hanky, so I guess I'll give that to someone. It's a little bit feminine, isn't it? A little bit. I thought that was pretty neat. It's painted on glass. That's prick tin. That's a still life, but I like these frames. See those? So that was $1. And then I got a lithograph of Little Boy Blue for $1. That's a decent sized piece of glass, but let me free up my hand. I want to show you something interesting. It is this. I have seen pottery with these birds on it. I don't know by whom, but I know that's a thing, and this has been spray painted, so it will have to come off. Looks like it's been repaired. Well, we'll see. I still want to get the paint off and do the research to find out who made that. That's it. Kansas is a field. I spy a little bit of what we're headed toward. El Cuartelejo site on that sign. Look at the terrain. It's changing just now. Why don't we just check this out? What is this? Lake Scott State Park. I remember that from Googling. And that El Cuartelejo, or whatever that was. Battle of Punished Woman's Fork. Okay. Lake Scott State Park. Chalky. I heard the word used to describe these cliffs. Chalky. You know, driving like this, my mind's just sort of chill, and I'm not very quick to pull up information because, Lord have mercy, because I would like to explain or offer some info on punished woman. I don't want to go there. Hell hath no fury. About the Badlands. I don't really understand the geology of the Badlands. I think, well, that's not going to do us any good. But I think it's pretty much on track. Ancient seabed, softer sediment, and it eroded easier. Who knows? But we're going to a lake. A lake is up here. Lake Scott. I just passed through a town of Scott, or Scottsville, or Scotttown, or something like that. I can see cattle way over there on that ridge. Sign. Welcome to historic Lake Scott. Ooh, do you see that little building way up there?
In a quarter mile, turn left.
Permit required. Self-pay permits. Circle Drive, Lakeview Beach House, Timber, Flatland Apache Timber Canyon, El Cuartelejo, Cuartelejo, Steel Home Museum, Elm Grove, Flatland Apache Timber Canyon. Sounds neat. Let's go see what we gotta do to get in here. Look, that gave me a shock. I looked up there and I kind of took my breath. Alright. So, I got information from the rangers here. And there is a museum that I need to backtrack. It's worth it, they said. El Cuartelejo.
In 300 feet, turn right onto West Scott Lake Drive.
Cuartelejo. They said it's a good one, so I'm going to catch it. I have bought my pass here, which is good until 2 p.m.
Take the next right onto West Scott Lake Drive, then turn right onto Kansas 95 South.
Tomorrow, 2 p.m. tomorrow. I'm good to come here. The day just gets by too quickly. It is 3. That place closes at 5. There's a museum in Oakley. 20 minutes up the highway. There's a little bit of stuff. There's a little bit of stuff in this area. This seems to be the only area. And there's some dinosaur type things and some Apache and Pueblo type things. And I am going to hang out here because I don't want to just rush through Lake Scott or the Little Jerusalem Badlands or the Monument Rocks or the museum in Oakley and the museum in Scott City. So I'm probably going to be in this area tonight, which means I'll have time tomorrow to do all the things and make it to Abilene. Abilene won't be tonight. I think it's Abilene. Abilene won't be tonight. We are going to stick here between Scott City and Oakley, Kansas, and take it all in. Because I likely will
take the next right onto Kansas 95 South.
Never be back. I mean, never say never, but you know what I mean? I'll go ahead and see what there is to see. It is beautiful down in this little canyon. I like it. I don't know how the people, not that there are many people, do it on the, up there, on the flat part. I like it down in this little canyon. I think this place seems kind of promising. Here we are at El Cuartelejo Museum, which I think means Pueblo. I think that's what she said. And the Jerry Thomas Gallery and Collect. It's a nice building. I got a little pocket for my hanky right there. Jerry Thomas. You're gonna think I'm lying, but I believe I could have heard that name while I was Googling. That might be why I think it's familiar. Google that cat. We're friends now. He's here for a board meeting that just began. He just toured me around his whole exhibit. He's quite famous. Jerry Thomas. I'm buying a print and he's signing it for me. I told the girl I was gonna come outside because they started a board meeting or something. I can't believe that. I came here, that dude happened to be here. It's relatively new, his part. The museum got a grant, and he's got artifacts from, I don't know, I cannot do the telling justice. If you're curious, just Google. He's got stuff from Custer and Wild Bill, and we talked about the plains and how they don't actually end at the top of North Dakota, and the Cheyenne. I think he's in the Cheyenne. That is the most serendipitous, most fortunate, unbelievable thing to run into the guy here and to have him take me around the wing where all of his original, he doesn't even sell his original art anymore. Jerry Thomas And I'm like, are you on social media? So we're, this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. He was telling me how he did his washes. He does acrylics. There's no way I can convey the, there was no photography or video within that part of this museum where his work is. So I didn't bust a camera out. But, yeah, I met Jerry. So this is an artist's conception of El Cuartelejo Pueblo. Entrances are in the roof. I don't see, well, I see just those little windows. Isn't that neat? Fortified. And here it is. We're there. That was a quick trip. Boo. Look at that. A fire pit in the floor. Here's that grain that's all around us. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to photograph or video, so we'll keep that short. Punished woman's fork.
The Northern Cheyenne was sent to Oklahoma to put under
You're not going to believe this.
in 1877.
It is the site. I can't believe this. I can't believe this. I have chills. It's the site of the last battle between the Cheyenne and the U.S. forces of Kansas. That is Punished Woman's Fork. And that image you'll see again that just popped up on the screen, and I didn't know that was on this video. That was painted by Jerry Thomas. And that is also the print of his that I just chose for him to personalize to me. I just met the dude who painted Punished Woman's Fork. I'm like in another world right now. What's up, girl? That butter's not going to turn itself. Look at her, acting like she can read. Well, I do declare. What is it? That rope's a little heavy. That's the line from Oklahoma. The Surrey with the fringe on top. Okay, so everything west of that line from Wichita straight north to Salina.
It's Western Kansas.
It's Western Kansas.
Different.
It's a whole.
It's more flat. There's less trees.
Want to be on camera?
No, I don't want to.
Okay. Yeah, I don't either. That's okay.
So I'll wait until that you document that. If you're gonna video it. Or
No, I want to hear about the dinosaur. I'm standing here and I'm like, there's dinosaur bones.
Yes, it is a.
There's literally dinosaur bones. And you said a paleontologist was here.
Yes. And he is still here. He is in with the meeting right now, but he actually has a master's degree in.
There it is. There's the tusk. Is it? Is this the whole thing? Or from the same animal?
It's all from the same animal. Yes. It is 60% of the 75% that was dug up.
75% was dug up, and this is 65% of that found or
Roughly.
dug up.
Roughly, yes.
And where was that? North of, did you tell me already north of Scott Lake?
No, that's a different one.
It's a different dinosaur?
Yeah.
You want to go? You want to go look at that one?
Sure, look at that one. Absolutely.
In here.
We have the Elasmosaurus, which is basically, I'm going to get on to it, is this here. The long neck monster.
It does look like the Lochness.
It is.
That is. Say it again.
Elasmosaurus.
Elasmosaurus.
Or Plesiosaurus.
Plesiosaurus.
Yeah, yeah.
So is this where your paleontologist works?
Yes, sir.
And I'm good to film and
Yes. Yeah. You can film and take pictures except for in the Thomas Gallery.
right, and I did not.
Yeah. So, and I can go get him if you'd like to visit with him.
I do.
Like these are stomach stones.
What?
Yeah. So, like chickens eat little pebbles to help them
Yes.
digest food.
Oh, right.
That's what they did.
So that's not accidental.
No. And if you can think about it, this animal was in the ocean.
Ocean.
Yeah, because we were in the sea.
Right, I saw the map.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would explain. How does that. The Badlands. Is that what created the Badlands? That there was.
That was probably from the glaciers after the inland ocean. I will go get Mr. Super for you because he is full.
The paleontologist?
Yes, sir. And he is 29.
So this is like. He's here today. He's not always here.
Starting from November 1st, he is here more often.
I'm basically bragging to whomever watches this video that this was a very fortunate occasion
Yeah, you're lucky.
to meet both of these.
Yes. And the great thing about Mr. Super is he was our high school science teacher.
That's cute.
But then he's taking a hiatus to work on this. So,
What is he doing? Is he digging it? Digging?
yes. I will go get him for you and then you can ask him
Oh,
questions.
okay. I don't even know if they're still open. I'm the only one here. You on? But I'm recording now. And what was your name?
My name's Christopher Super.
We were in the garage and we saw the mammoth bones from a dig.
Yeah. There's a really cool part of it I can show you. So a lot of that is still wrapped up in the field jackets. There was one piece that we opened.
Is that the plaster, the white plaster
Yeah,
thing?
that keeps it from moving and bending. So speaking of mammoth, I figured you'd like this. Take a look at this.
Is that a tooth?
Yeah, those are two teeth. So imagine your lower jaw, right? How it's wider in the back and it gets narrower. This is the whole lower jaw of a mammoth. You're welcome to touch those teeth if you want.
And that's the front.
Yeah, this would be towards the front of the mouth. And
Is this one tooth?
Yeah, there's a pair of teeth there. There would have been another pair on the upper part that would have been. Imagine how that could grind.
Herbivore.
Oh yeah, I mean, I would imagine. Look how robust that is. Maybe even woodier stuff. Maybe kind of thicker plants and. But how? Yeah, so.
It's like rigid.
Yeah, and exactly. That's just all that area for grinding and crushing and chewing on stuff.
Yeah.
So how cool is that?
I saw a camel once eat a cactus,
And they didn't
and
even
it
care.
had ridges, and there was some way to it prevented the.
Oh, from sticking in the
Yeah.
So yeah, we have all these like younger fossils. We have mammoths, we have camels and stuff. And then as you saw on some of the
How old is that?
Oh, I don't know the exact. That's a great question.
Would it be 11, 12,000 years?
Yes, Pleistocene, somewhere in that range.
This
Yeah,
Elasmosaurus.
this is Cretaceous. Yeah, so it's much older. This is more about 85 to. So here's the
What?
story. Yeah. Oh yeah. So way back in the Cretaceous, there was some tectonic stuff going on, right?
Okay.
And there was sort of a lowering of the land as the Rockies are beginning to uplift. That's pushing this part of the land down. Also, in the latest Cretaceous, there were almost.
Do you want to be
no
on
glaciers.
camera? Do you mind?
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Here's the story of this one. So, on my birthday, I took the day off work back when I was a high school teacher because I didn't really want to work on my birthday. I don't know about you, but I could think of more fun I could be doing.
Is this up by Lake Scott?
Sort of. It's in that general area. Yeah. So anyway, I got the permission of these landowners to go look for fossils on their land. It was my birthday. I'm like, oh, this is what I want to be doing, you know. So some days you step out of the car, you find a fossil right away. Other times you're walking for hours and hours, there's nothing. It was one of those days. So I was walking up on this little ridge here, and I just happened to see that there were some chunks on the ground over there. And I thought, okay, it looks like something. So I went down to go look at them, and this is what I saw. There were all sorts of pieces. Yeah, right here's a...
Is that to scale at your finger?
It's just about, yeah, I guess if that's...
Huh.
The actual piece is sitting over here, I can show you. So,
That is the Elasmosaurus. What was the other name of the Elasmosaurus?
this was just a clue that there was something there. So there were all these chunks on the surface. And that was giving me a clue that there was some kind of a big fossil there. And you can see it looks different than the rock, right? It's sort of porous, it's got a certain look to it. There were just things about it that kind of caught my eye. And I could tell it was different than...
So you can commonly find sort of this kind of thing.
Yeah. It's sort of like you just kind of build up an eye for certain patterns and textures, and you get good at finding certain things like that.
Wow.
You see how the sun kind of bleaches them? It turns white when they sit out, and the water gets in there, and the water freezes and it expands. So eventually, if a fossil's not collected, it just breaks up into little tiny fragments, and it slowly gets washed away. So all these chunks on the surface was a clue that there was something big here. And so that was kind of the beginning. But then it's like, okay, well, how much is here? What do we have? You know.
Okay.
So then we go from like the discovery. As soon as I started digging back in, you know, there were 5 or 6 pieces on the ground. But as soon as I start getting in there, there's bone after bone after bone. There's just a lot of material, which is a good sign, you know.
So you're very excited at this point.
Yeah. And so I find these vertebrae, like you on the spine, right? I follow them back.
These are the ones you found. This is what you found.
Yeah, this is the view of what it looks like. Yeah, so this is sticking out of the hill. I saw like, you know, a circle, a big old vertebra, about this big, like whale sized, you know. And then I started chipping back in, and there was another one, another one, another one. I'm just kind of finding just the edges of them at this point. You know, most of them, they're still in the rock. I'm just trying to find the edges.
How had that not been discovered?
Yeah, there's just miles and miles and miles of this chalk, and not a lot of people going to look at it. And just
That's
this
amazing.
This is like 2 fences back. It's just way out in the middle of the pasture. It's just kind of a forgotten little area, you know. Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, big bones going right back into the hill. That's looking pretty good. I had a friend with the bobcat come out and he'll dig a road down to it because it's way out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Getting better access to it.
What do you call that? The soil?
It's called chalk.
Chalk?
It's a type of rock called chalk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and you could actually, if I were to snap off a piece and go to a blackboard, I could write on it. It's literally chalk.
Chalk.
Chalk. Yeah, just like
Gotcha.
the stuff they use to. It's like
No, I know.
It's like a refined version. This is just the natural form of it, but I
Yeah,
think they do
which is
something to it.
gypsum.
Like calcitic minerals. There's some gypsum in there. Yeah. Yeah, that's plaster of Paris. So eventually I got to the point where I was digging and digging. How far do the bones go this way? How far this way do they go? Just trying to figure out where everything is. So this shows here. I had just a pile of bones. Let me find that.
Is that a yardstick?
Yeah, that's 1 meter, 1 yard. Yeah. So here were some of the things that stood out to me. One was that vertebrae.
Yeah.
Vertebrae. There's like a whole bunch of those. Then they started to get jumbled. They were no longer together.
Okay.
See this right here. I started kind of recognizing certain parts of things. So this is the animal in question here.
Pelvis.
Yeah, exactly, totally. Yep. So right there, one of those big flat
blade.
bones.
Yeah,
like the size of a cookie tray. Yeah. Maybe some parts of this guy. You know, in the field, I'm not trying to uncover everything. I'm just trying to find
see
how far
where it
just,
is.
Yeah, how far is it
isolated.
going? Yeah. And if I tried to pick it right up, it would just shatter, right? So then I start building this support around it.
It's
It's still in the original rock, yeah. But what I was able to do was I used this burlap, which is like potato sack kind of stuff, right? And then I would mix it up with plaster of Paris, and then all the bones are in. All the bones are in one sort of layer, right? And I want to take the whole layer out of the ground without destroying it, right? So here's how I'll show you right here.
So this is the size of the animal.
This is the size of the middle of the animal. It would have been even bigger than this.
Okay.
I'll show you some more here. Yeah. So anyway, so I figured out. Okay, the bones end here. The bones go there. The bones go there. Okay, that's great. Then I used that. Like I said, I made that shell over it because this has got big cracks through it. If I tried to just lift it, it would just fall apart, right?
That is upside down. That.
I flipped it. Yeah. So and I kept building support on it. I used these big wood boards, heat from bending. Then you see here, I'm starting to chip underneath of it.
Right.
Adding more plaster as I'm going under.
How do you know how deep to chip underneath?
I was kind of, the vertebrae are about that big, and the fossils are always horizontal. They're in like these flat layers. So I didn't have to worry about too much of
Because they're
this.
compressed.
Yeah, they're pretty much flat. They're laid on this plane. Yeah. So I was a bit of a guesstimate, but based on the size of some of the bones, I'm like, somewhere at about 6 inches is probably
Okay.
fine, yeah.
Okay.
But I was being real careful. So chipped under. Then actually, we flipped the whole thing.
There you
over.
are.
Yeah. We had like 10 4-H'ers help us flip this giant block.
4-H.
Yeah, I feel like Boy Scout type thing.
Yeah, we had Future Farmers of America.
FFA, yeah,
And
yeah.
Scouts. And Scouts.
Yeah. Eventually, we got slid into the front of this giant, front loader and got it taken to the museum. And so, what's inside this big slab here is a lot of the body of the animal. So we have like fins. You can touch that, yeah. That's where I mount the microscope usually.
Okay.
So it is kind of disarticulated, just sort of stirred around a little bit. And part of why that is because of things like that. There's a shark's tooth right there, so we can look at that here.
Was that in the stomach? Because I don't know her name, but she told me the Blackstones, what the Blackstones were.
Yeah, totally. So
This was an aquatic.
Yeah, it's got flippers. It's fully aquatic. Yeah.
Where's the sharks? Oh, I see
There's
it.
actually two shark's teeth right here and right here.
And there's a little
And there's a tooth from a different animal. That's from a mosasaur, so a different marine reptile.
mosasaur.
Yeah, there was some in the case over there. So imagine this big dead thing is on the seafloor. All the sharks and all the scavengers come in and they just start.
Ah.
Yeah. And some of the bones actually have marks where it's been bitten into. So for example, see that line right there?
I do.
Yeah, that's from something chewing or kind of feeding on the ribs of this guy.
And then below it, there's a little, I don't know what that little, there's a,
Right, that one?
yeah.
Yeah, I think those three there are bite marks. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But this one, check out this piece in the case here. This is one of those pieces kind of washed out, naturally. And I was looking at it, and it has these cuts and these gouges, and I was like, wow, what the heck is
What
that?
is it, this caudal
Yeah, those are tail. Yeah, go up one on
Where-
the black paper.
scavengers?
Yeah, so yeah, we're seeing bite marks on the bones. We're seeing shed teeth from sharks and stuff.
Right there.
Yeah, there you go. And see how it has little tiny lines on it? That's from the serrations, like leaving marks on the bones as this thing is getting chewed on, which is kind of crazy. So imagine you have a big serrated steak knife and you're like chopping something.
Yeah.
You're gonna make the cut, but then the serrations leave like little marks behind it.
You said it died and floated to the bottom. Do you think it was hunted?
I don't know. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
The mosasaur might have been something that would have been a beaten attack. I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll have to continue to see what we can find. In there.
And there it is up there.
Yeah, there's my little model. Yeah. Aren't these just the weirdest looking things? So big kind of body, like a barrel almost, and then long, skinny paddles, flippers. This part powerful tail, and then
Oh, it's on your shirt.
yeah, there you go.
The Loch Ness. That's
Exactly.
what it was. So it came to mind.
Well, yeah, that rumor, that sort of legend, they didn't really call it an Elasmosaur until after this had been discovered. So I think they started kind of blending those together. But
What was the other name of the
Elasmosaurus?
Plesiosaur, yeah.
Plesiosaur?
Yeah, so Plesiosaur is like a group.
That
of
was
dogs.
more the taxonomy.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
more familiar to me. Plesiosaur.
Yeah, well, Elasmosaurs are just a type of a Plesiosaur.
This is stuff. That's just amazing.
Isn't it? It's absolutely amazing.
What is your name?
Leanna.
Leanna.
So there's a lot of cool stuff I'm working on. This is an area I've really been excited about recently. What do you think? What do you think all these pile all this?
Flippers.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. This is a beautiful paddle, and you can see I've already found the next couple. I'm thinking this paddle probably goes another foot or so back to here.
Your name again?
Christopher.
Christopher. What I saw tools there.
I got all sorts of tools, yeah.
So you're flaking off the
Yeah, right now I'm just doing detail work. I'm just kind of going around the edges and stuff. Mostly when I
meticulous. Probably is an
totally.
understatement.
Patience, yeah. See that little mark there? That was an accident. I ran into the bone and I realized there was a bone here. Then I was able to follow that out. So sometimes you have to
This is your.
Yeah, this is a big flat bone right here.
But these are your marks.
Yeah, let me show you another tool here.
How long would that take to make? Are you forever? He said.
Some of this is something that would speed up your work a little bit. This is an error scribe. So I have an air compressor in the other room, so I plug it into the
Yeah.
air compressor, and this vibrates in
Scribe.
and out. Yeah. So see all these marks up here? That was made by this tool, so that really speeds up my work. But when I start getting close
Like
to a bone,
all of those
Yeah.
across there.
yeah, when I'm far away from the big important stuff, I can kind of work fast.
You know.
When I get closer and closer, then you're right. Yeah, I got to switch to really, I'm just kind of doing like kind of outlines. stuff.
Oh, so it is soft.
It is, yeah, it's just chalk. You can actually scratch with your fingernail, it's soft. The bone is harder than your nail, though, and so that makes something really interesting happen.
Okay, so the bone is hard.
Yeah, the bone's harder than the rock, which is great. See this tool sitting on the table here?
Yeah.
That's basically a sandblaster, or like an air abrasive. So what I can do is I can actually, because the bone is harder than the rock, if I get the pressure just right, I can actually blow away the soft rock and leave the harder bone. So that's how, you know why this is so clean. Yeah,
What
that's,
is that?
That's a rib. That's one single
Rib.
Yeah. So this thing will have these huge ribs.
Rib.
Yeah, imagine, if that's a rib, there's a rib. This thing would have been about the size of a barrel in its cross section. That's a big, chunky animal for sure.
Huh.
So yeah, finger bones all through there. There's another rib leading off that way. There's a vertebra there.
Okay.
Another rib.
you're bringing this thing to like real existence.
Isn't it incredible? Yeah.
And how old? You said
This is 85 million years ago.
85. That's just too much for the
This
mind.
lived at the, I know. It lived at the same time as pterodactyls, as pterosaurs. So in the same formation, we can find flying reptiles. We can find all these weird fish that are all extinct. There's, Mosasaurus, other marine reptiles that lived at this time. So Western Kansas is totally famous for fossils. All the way back in the 1850s, people have been digging stuff up and, sending it off to different museums and stuff.
This has been really cool. Cool isn't even, it's been better than cool.
Well, let me show you. There's another couple more things here. So, up
What's-
at Fort Wallace, they tell the story of the very first Plesiosaurus or Elasmosaurus that was found, which is kind of cool. But
That's what you mentioned. If I'd been to Fort Wallace.
yeah, so that's where this whole story begins. Back in the 1860s, there was this guy, one of these guys. I don't know. I think it's that one. He was the surgeon for the army base, and he was exploring. They were going to be building a railroad out there, and he was exploring where the railroad was going to go.
In 1860.
In 1860s, yeah. And they found vertebrae from this big fossil, and they realized they had like 40 feet of vertebrae. It was the world's largest fossil when they found it at the time in 1860. Unfortunately, these guys, they didn't do a very good job on the skull. They kind of just beat it out of the ground. Because, they're army guys, 1860s.
40 foot?
Yeah, 40 feet of vertebrae, yeah. So, anyway, we knew about these animals since the 1860s. We kind of knew what their structure looked like, but the skull was not there, right? We needed a good skull. And so this guy found one in 1890. That was the very first complete skull. But they're super rare. So that was like the only skull known from Kansas, right?
You mean the skull is rare?
The skull, yeah, especially. Why do you think that is? Because, well, just look at the structure, right? If this thing's dead,
Because it's so removed.
yeah, what's the first thing that's going to fall off?
I get it. I
It's
see
gone,
it, yeah.
And those panels gone, So
Right.
there have been about a dozen of these things found out here, but most of the time it's just vertebrae and parts of the body, just the big chunks.
So this that you found on your birthday,
Yeah.
surely you looked in the perimeter for more of this animal.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Did
I have about 75% of it, yeah. So here, this is
so the whole animal was there?
most of it, yeah, as far as I can tell. Yeah, so the skull's so rare, right? All right. One day I'm digging in the quarry, kind of pushing stuff back, and I hit something and it flips up and there's a tooth in the rock. And I said, holy cow, if there's a tooth, maybe we're getting close to the skull. So I glued that back in there, and I knew there were skull bones, but they're thin, they're fragile, so it's really just safest to just take it in one big block, right? Do the detail work back home, right? You're just trying to find the edges. So what we did is we took that block to the hospital, and they let us use their CT scanner.
Yeah.
And we ran the block through the CT scanner, and it showed us like, whoa, look, the whole freaking skull is like there's an orbit, an eye socket, there's the tip of the snout. So we go back to that field picture,
Oh my goodness.
and it's like, yeah, that little ridge that I was looking at earlier, that's the ridge on like the top of the skull right there. That little thing, I wasn't sure what it was. Yeah, that's the tip of the snout right there. you
Where
know,
are
so-
we for scale? Is that a 6 inch?
Let's see some
Well, it's
centimeters.
centimeters.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, this is a little bit bigger than this. But yeah, so how cool was that? So that scan showed us that we had a whole skull in there.
That was
And
amazing.
What was even cooler was not just like a one-sided view.
What
we had
are
like
those?
slices through the whole block. This is like you're sliced through the middle of the skull. Those are all teeth sockets.
Because it was a see CAT scan.
Yeah, so we had a whole 3D view of the fossil. So we can see the pallets, like the roof of the mouth. That's where the spine would have plugged into the back of the skull.
Those look like conical teeth fit in there.
They're really pretty skinny and needle-like.
What did this thing eat?
Yeah, I've been finding little fragments of fish bones. So largely eating fish, but maybe if they catch squid and just any kind of small prey that they were
I think that was like a baleen on a whale.
No, let's go look. So their teeth are really quite thin. They're like needle-like, you know?
Oh, there they are.
Yeah, and they're really jagged. Some of them, towards the back of the mouth, they're really small needles, and then they have like these big fangs up in the front, like these especially long ones in the 3rd or 4th position. So that's one of their kind of fang teeth.
Wow.
But here, yeah, right in the middle of the case, this is the actual skull right here.
It's eating something there.
Yeah. There's the actual skull. So the snout is off to the right. You know when you pet the top of a dog, you feel that bump on their head? That bump and that thing in the middle is similar to what the dog...
Is this upright? So...
Yeah, it's like you're looking at it this way. It's kind of squished top to bottom. So we're looking kind of a top view.
We point to the eye socket.
It's that's
the first one or the large?
I wish I had a laser pointer. The smaller one in the middle.
Right there in the center.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the big one in the back, that would have been where muscles would have been going through. The orbits, the eyes would have been right there, and then all those little smaller circles, those are all teeth sockets. Yeah, and you can see a lot of the teeth have kind of slipped out of their sockets, like that one laying over there.
I see the teeth socket, and it didn't have anything growing out of its nose.
No, it just had kind of a.
That is just mashed from from inside the mouth.
But yeah, so that's pretty much about all.
Well, congratulations.
Oh, it's been so much fun.
Has this gained? I bet has this gained you any notoriety?
Oh yeah, sort of, kind of. You know, we're doing some scientific research. We hope to publish some stuff on it. You know, down the road.
I'm going to wrap this up.
Yeah.
Thank you, Christopher.
Absolutely.
But well, I mean, we can still
Sure.
I may have checked into a halfway house. It is motel and stepping up ministry office. I thought it was the sleeping inn. It's not the sleeping inn, it's the stepping inn. And you call a number, they give you a room which is unlocked with the key in the room. So I'm at the I'm sleeping in at the stepping up. I'm stepping in. I might be stepping in it. Anyway, no, I don't think it's. Oh, look, they have a mural. That makes me feel better. I'm going to the best restaurant in town, which is about the only restaurant in town. I don't remember if it was Scott Community. There it is. Right there. Majestic. See? It's pretty. It's got a little awning and Christmas lights. Looks kind of fancy. And I'm in overalls. A lot of leaded glass in the doors. I think I want to get a picture. The white lights under the awning are very pretty. Where'd she go? She hung the lights. She's been decorating. Leaded glass. Look at that. Look at that door. Oh, this is the old theater. That's gotta be what this is. This was a theater.
It was, yeah. Come in. Come around.
That's I want dinner.
No, come in.
I ordered the fried vegetable platter, and it is on an actual platter. It's absurd. It's a little bit embarrassing. It is a whole platter, heaping like catering.